Barstow City Council, Barstow Fire Protection District for November 4th, 2025, to order at 6 p.m. Ask everyone to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. And Councilmember Hernandez, please lead us.
Thank you. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, may we have the roll call, please?
Roll call is complete. Mayor Pro Tem Rose is absent and has been marked with an excused absence, and all other members are present.
Thank you. Participation is invited. If you wish to be heard on any item on the agenda, including any item on the consent calendar, please so indicate by filling out a speaker request card and hand it to the city clerk prior to the agenda item being addressed. If special accommodations are required, a 48-hour notice must be given to the city clerk. Code of Ethics is your elected governing board. We will remember the Code of Ethics that we voluntarily and unanimously approved. During this meeting, we will treat each other and the public with patience, civility, and courtesy. The decisions made tonight will be for the benefit of the Barstow community and not for personal gain. Public comments of closed session. This is the time and the place for the general public to address the governing board on matters on the closed session agenda and within the city's jurisdiction. Speakers are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes or less. All requests to speak must be received prior to the agenda item being addressed. If special accommodations are required, a 48-hour notice must be given to the city clerk. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak on items 1 through 3?
We have no comments.
Thank you. With that, I'll ask for a motion and a second to go into closed session.
Motion go into closed session?
I have a motion by Councilmember Hernandez, a second by Councilmember Noble. I'll call for the vote.
And the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. And with that, we will go into closed session. we open open session.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll report both tonight and the prior meeting. For the prior meeting on October 21st, the council returned to closed session after the open session meeting, continued the discussion of the city manager's performance evaluation, provided direction to staff and council, and took no reportable action. That concludes the report from the last meeting. For this meeting, the council met in closed session to consider two items, Item 1 and Item 2. Item 1 regarding the Conference of Labor Negotiators for Units 3, 5, 6, 8, and all unrepresented employees, provided direction to staff and council, and took no reportable action. I will note on tonight's open session agenda is potential approval of Unit 6 and Unit 8 MOUs. And then on Item 2, Conference of the Real Property Negotiator regarding the Barstow Senior Citizen Center, the council provided direction to staff and council and took no reportable action. Item 3 regarding an item of anticipated litigation will be continued to after the open session. The report out will be at the following meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Summers. With that, I call to order this Barstow City Council, Barstow Fire Protection District meeting for November 4th, 2025 to order at 7 p.m. I ask that we please stand for the invocation, which will be given by Steve May.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you for the opportunity for city leaders to meet in this place of governance. We thank you for being God and knowing that you are sovereign, omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. We thank you that you are love, and we thank you for Jesus, who lived, died, was raised from the dead, and lives today and will return one day. On this important night of elections that will in many ways affect states and this country, we gather seeking your divine wisdom. Guide us, O Lord, as we deliberate over the vital issues of our city. Empower our discernment to know what is right and wrong. Illumine our judgments and plans with your heavenly insights. May we care for this city with diligence, with grace and mercy, and create a lighthouse city for all to see. With hopeful hearts, we seek your grace for better judgment, knowing that in you lies wisdom beyond measure. As the Bible says in James, if any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously. And all we do or decide here tonight, may you be glorified and foremost. In Jesus' name, amen.
Please remain standing as we're led in the pledge by Councilmember Noble.
Please join me in pledge allegiance to the flag. Ready? Begin.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, may we have roll call, please?
Yes, roll call is complete. Mayor Pro Tem Rose is absent and has been marked with an excused absent, and all other members are present.
Thank you. Participation is invited if you wish to be heard on any item on the agenda, including any item on the consent calendar. Please so indicate by filling out a speaker request card and hand it to the city clerk prior to the agenda item being addressed. If special accommodations are required, a 48-hour notice must be given to the city clerk. Code of Ethics. As your elected and governing board, we will remember the Code of Ethics that we voluntarily and unanimously approved. During this meeting, we will treat each other and the public with patience, civility, and courtesy. The decisions made tonight will be for the benefit of the Barstow community and not for personal gain. Review and approve of the agenda. This is the time and the place for members of the governing board to call for rearranging the order of the agenda, adding items or removing items from the agenda, or removing items from the consent calendar for discussion and or separate action. Items may only be added to the agenda as allowed by state law, including Government Code Section 5494.2, Subdivision B, allowing emergency items to be added by majority vote, and allowing items that arose to the city's attention after the agenda posting deadline, but which require immediate action to be added by a 2/3 vote of the council members present at the meeting, or if less than 2/3 of the council members are present, a unanimous vote of those members present. Call for a motion.
So moved to approve the agenda.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Hernandez to approve the agenda as presented, a second by Councilmember Noble. A call for the vote.
And the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. With that, the first item number 4 on our open session, is a presentation, homeless outreach. City Manager, Mrs. Clayton.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. This is a presentation on homelessness specific to Barstow. It's to talk about resources, provide information to the community and public on resources, challenges we face, and some opportunities that we have. So with that, I'll get started. I wanted to back up. This is a collaborative presentation between the City Manager's Department, our Public Safety Departments, and staff. So a national and local challenge. Homelessness is a pervasive issue across the U.S. On any given night, we have 650,000 Americans experience homelessness, and California accounts for about a third of unhoused. Contributing factors are wide-ranged, but a few are housing costs. The rising costs of homes and affordable homes is astronomical in California. Mental health issues, substance use, and economic inequality. Despite its economic power, California faces, again, severe housing shortages, driven in large part by the affordability crisis. For every 100 very low-income Californians, only 24 affordable units exist. And that drives what California's regulations have become more stringent upon, and I say stringent but loose, over the past, I think, 5 to 10 years, really, and that impacts cities with properties that are going to be disposed of. We are bound by the Surplus Land Act, and we have to offer that to affordable housing before any other builder in certain instances. But it's also mandated ADUs to be exempt from a lot of city requirements, including parking and so forth. So it has really impacted California. Seniors are the fastest growing group of unhoused. Barstow, while small, faces unique rural challenges with limited shelter beds and service accessibility. The closest shelter is in Victorville, and we obviously are not within a close range, and there are a lot of impacts that prohibit us from having that availability to be part of the closest shelter, to have active participation in that shelter. We are working through that, and I am working through some opportunities that we can possibly present in the future. But at this time, we are really limited to shelter beds and any service availability. Many of the homeless in Barstow are local residents. They're not from other areas considered transplants, but that is to say they're not relocated here, they are local residents. So the city, county, and community groups have formed partnerships to address the crisis. We currently have a Homeward Bound committee where we have community and partnership members work together to provide opportunities and solutions. These are some of the housing pathways and transitional and permanent supportive capacity opportunities. New Hope Village is a transitional housing that has 10-unit transitional housing facility and operates a 10-unit transitional housing facility in Barstow. The GoGo Growing Outreach, Growing Opportunities is a transitional rental assistance, securing 12-month transitional house leases and providing rental assistance for long-term or move-in eviction prevention. New Life Fellowship is a rapid rehousing and case management. They have the Homeless and Housing Assistance Plan for Focus. That's a county-funded opportunity for housing stability plans, dedicated housing navigator, and housing retention services. The Desert Sanctuary specializes in it's an emergency shelter specific to victims of domestic violence and their children. Meeting the immediate needs for outreach, we have Desert Manna, who maintains a large food bank for consistent food security, provides emergency shelter vouchers, approximately 75 to 110 motel vouchers issued annually, only for short-term crisis housing, and operates a 32 emergency bed shelter with a history of 27 years. New Life Fellowship has neighborships in needs, operates consistent weekly food outreach programs. Pastor Willie Smith Outreach conducts regular street outreach and meal distribution throughout the city, using CDBG, which is the Community Development Block Grant Funds, and community partnerships. So specialized support and coordinated and public engagement really engages behavioral health, the San Bernardino County's behavioral health and public safety integration. Key supportive programs of County DBH or Department of Behavioral Health are the Clubhouse programs, an active recovery-oriented mental health program that provides members with structure and meaningful work opportunities. The supportive apartments provides specialized housing units paired with intensive behavioral health services and clinical case management. As part of that coordinated public engagement effort, the city law enforcement coordination utilizes the HOPE team, the Homeless Outreach and Proactive Enforcement. Officer Gomez is currently assigned to be the city's homeless liaison. The Barstow has dedicated a specific officer to act as a liaison not only for homeless individuals but for our residents and businesses, to have that direct line to the police department to assist with any challenges that our businesses and residents face based on homeless. The role is for that outreach, public safety, and connecting with those individuals and our partners so that we can shift the focus from enforcement to resource engagement. Now, we do have impacts on the city with this, and operations for the police department specifically, have increased in calls for service related to trespassing, loitering, welfare checks, and disturbances, heightened demand for crisis intervention, mental health response, and officer safety precautions, frequent cleanup requests for homeless encampments and property damage complaints. However, we do, our police department and officer liaison has partnered and works to address these with offering services with Inroads program, which is through San Bernardino County. It's a case management and housing placement, again, addressing mental health care and medical services to unhoused. The MAP program, also in partnership with San Bernardino County Probation, assists clients in obtaining identification, social security cards, and education resources, and pathways to stability. The community policing and outreach, again, this is officers connecting individuals to local shelters and substance abuse programs, our veteran support services, and maintaining safety, again, for our residents and businesses. Detective Gomez, his specific homeless outreach mission to serve the department's dedicated homeless outreach officer, bridging that gap of the unhoused to community resources, working again with those direct partners and addressing the safety concerns with chronic homelessness that has plagued the entire, I shouldn't say plagued, has impacted it's nationwide. And the solutions, again, connecting unhoused to the treatments that are necessary. Everyone has a unique individual story and reason, and what we're aiming to do is connect those individuals to the resources that they need. To the Fire Protection District, we also have increased encampment in fire risks due to open flames in hard-to-access areas, occupied or abandoned. Fire response is more frequent to incidents involving unhoused individuals, and added workload and safety risks are also an impact. Some additional resources for the public. Our vacant residential properties, they have become an opportunity for unhoused to seek shelter. As we face the cold months coming up, we have experienced already the intrusion of those residential properties that are vacant, both residential or commercial that are vacant, and that not unauthorized access is something that if we address it in advance and connect with those unhoused and try to connect them to the services needed based on whatever their individual needs are, that will not only help the individual, but it also keeps our, it helps our safety to not only the businesses, residents, but also city staff that are responding to those emergency needs. So this is some information, and there are some handouts out front that provides this information. And this is just so that to provide a little more information, if an individual unauthorized has entered a vacant home, if they are there more than 28 days, 29 days or more, then they are subject to an eviction process. And that is costly to the homeowner. A lot of homeowners don't live local. They don't see that somebody has entered their home with unauthorized access. So this is an opportunity for anybody in that neighborhood. If you see something, say something. We have methods to report to the city, either calling the city, but you can also have the Barstow Connect app. If it is an existing crime happening and you see somebody breaking in, that's obviously something to call the police and report because it is a crime. If it's something that you notice that there's been some activity and it's not an emergency response or a crime in progress, that's something you can also report on the app. You go to your phone app store and Barstow Connect. It's a very easy process to report anything that you see. But again, this is to maintain safety. What we have exhibited is a break-in, trying to stay warm, starting a fire to stay warm. I'd imagine not with any intention to set the home on fire, but that's the unfortunate result. And so that takes resources from our fire team. And again, we just want to connect the individuals to the services that can help them and get them into some short-term housing, the long-term, the permanent supportive housing, and then the long-term affordable housing opportunities that we are pursuing as a city. We are looking for funding opportunities and working with our partners to establish more resources that are local to Barstow because, again, we don't have a lot of resources here. So with just as an overview again, this was just to provide information to the public about not only resources, but how the whole community can come together to assist. It takes a lot of, we have a lot of volunteers, but it takes a lot to work with some individuals to get them into programs. And we are just wanting to provide this information to the public for more resources. One additional resource that the police department has, which isn't widely known, but they did just update their trespass enforcement program. The purpose of this empowers property owners and managers to authorize Barstow Police Department to act as their agent for trespass enforcement. The enrollment, to enroll, the owner has to complete an application of no trespassing signs must be posted per specifications, and the Barstow PD has to go inspect the property for it to be an allowable approved, and it does remain in place for 1 year. And this can expand to beyond just homeless. We've got vendors operating illegal, food vendors, and so forth. This is an opportunity for those property owners, whether businesses or residential owners, to work with the Barstow Police Department to assist in Barstow PD acting on their behalf if they are not present to do so. So with that, I am happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Clayton. With that, I'll bring it back to council, and this being a presentation, this will be for questions or discussion. Councilmember Williams.
Well, that was great, but now we're gonna get into some other issues besides what we're doing for the homeless. I want to commend the police department and the fire department. I didn't realize how many calls you guys are out there on this subject alone, especially the fire chief. It's amazing the amount of cost of what is happening out there on the streets. I've heard things where a person wants a shower. They'll call 911, and we'll pick them up, and we'll take them to the hospital, and they'll get a shower. We'll call 911 if it's cold. We'll take them to the hospital. Our fire department is picking up the same people probably 2 or 3 times a week, same individuals. That's taking away from our residents. That's taking away from the safety of the people who need something, who we're up here trying to protect. I don't hate the homeless, like everybody's been saying. I just want to be accountable for our actions. Chris, Ms. Heldreth, could you tell me what the average cost it is to clean up an encampment? Just guessing. I know you don't have the exact numbers. If not, I can give you my numbers.
Depending on the size,
Right.
it all varies. It can be as little as a couple hours for the Public Works Department to clean it up, or it can take days, and
Right.
and additionally and equipment if it's that large.
So the reason I asked that question is because one of our residents from Riverside Drive has been talking about the encampment down there at Riverside Drive. You know what we did? We didn't pay attention. We kind of just ignored it. We kind of just let it go. And what I saw on our Public Works, what they did in 2 days, is unbelievable what is happening. But what's more important than that is the residents that are living in that area. Okay, so the homeless on Hawaiian Village area, we cleaned that thing up. Cost that owner about 30 grand, somewhere 20, 30 grand, somewhere in there to clean that up. In the meantime, the homeless were going in people's backyards, using their water, taking their tools out of the shed, taking their clothes. So I've been all over this city. I've been through every imaginable thing you can see. Number one problem is we keep giving the clothes to the homeless. We're providing them clothes. It's a great thing, right? Until you got to go clean it up. Because what are you going to do? 90% of the stuff is all clothes, scattered. So sometimes we think we're doing the right thing, and we may not be doing the right thing by allowing them to continue to do what they're doing. Chief, how many people or how many calls are you going out on a month?
I don't have that number for you. It's hard to track that for us because of the way they come in. They come in under different issues or complaints, and then it may turn out that it's related to the unhoused population.
So the other day I was going to work. Barstow PD did a great job. That one of the officers called me back. We had a homeless guy walking in the medium, banging on all of the car's windows, asking for money at 6 o'clock in the morning. Can't see him. You just couldn't see him. That risk to our residents is a problem because whoever hits that person in that street, you're now, it could be your wife, it could be your daughter, it could be somebody else that's driving that car. They're not endangering themselves, they're endangering all of us. So somewhere during this passion of we're giving back and want to help, we got to protect our citizens. And if you want to call me, a hater, call me a hater. I'm okay with it because at the end of the day, our resources are incredible. I can tell you right now, Fire Chief, what do you think you're spending? What do you think the cost to your department for a year doing services, running out and back and forth, doing what you're doing? What is it costing the taxpayers?
Unfortunately, we don't have the accounting quite per the annual, but just for example, just our Main Street fire we had a couple weeks ago, we had the tune of just the Barstow commitment of the tax dollar to that occurrence, which we do believe was caused by an unhoused occupant, was the tune for just the district alone was $4,400, just of an expended tax dollars for our service personnel. That's just our commitment. That's not our cooperators' commitment. So that was just for 4 hours worth of work.
That's fighting that fire down on Main Street. That motel.
That's correct.
So there's a business owner reached out to me. He says every morning that he's got to go outside, he's got to check his back door. You know why? They take aluminum tube and they put aluminum bottom on it. And then what they do is they fill it up full of wood and everything else to keep warm. Over a certain amount of time, what happens to that aluminum when it's heated up? It weakens up. This is what I believe caused some of the fires that we're seeing in these homes and abandoned homes and everywhere else, is they'll try to stay warm, catches on fire, and they pack their stuff up and leave. We got a bigger issue than trying to solve this homeless. I do believe one of the residents here has an answer. He owns a trailer park. I think he's got a great idea, and we're going to talk afterwards. I want to do something where we can make sure we're doing the right thing for everybody, not just for the homeless, but for our residents, our taxpayers. Because I'm telling you, the cost of what you're paying is beyond. $22 billion in 5 years is what the state of California has paid. And it's not getting better. So if you think we can fix it at this little area we're at $22 billion, you're mistaken. We can't fix it. And maybe the mayor can speak on this when it's his time. What the services we're doing with our nonprofits, what we're providing in clothing and food, oh my God, it's amazing. It wasn't for those nonprofits, we'd really be in trouble. So the cost to us, I'm going to estimate, is somewhere between $500,000 and $700,000 a year with all the amount of cleanups that we're doing. The Buena Vista house, are we getting that cleaned up? We're getting close to it?
I believe that property is in process for cleanup. Yeah, I don't have an exact date on that, but that property is in process.
There's no reason why a resident in a home has to live next to another home with that amount of trash, that much stuff out there, knives laying on the ground. It's ridiculous. It's like that thing, they just moved out of there, threw everything out, and it's gone. And kids are playing on the roof now. Kids are playing out there in it. It's unbelievable. One of the biggest things I'm going to leave you guys with is, I don't know how our city manager is doing it. I don't know how she's making a budget. I got to tell you, embankment that we have for cleaning up these homes, we have $0. I bet no one in this room knew it. $0 to go out and get these things cleaned up and do it. How she's doing it, I don't know. She's pulling money from somewhere. She is fighting herself off. So I appreciate what you're doing. It's almost impossible what you've walked into, to know that we don't even have the funding. We need to get the funding. We need to get Chris as much money as he needs so he can get out there and get these things cleaned up, keep our public safe. But if we're going to invite people to move to Barstow, California, and we better clean it up. And I'm going to tell you, Chris, you cleaned up two major issues. One down on Riverside Drive. It was just more than one person living there. That was a pack living down there. And then the other one is what just recently happened today, and that's over by the old Kentucky Fried Chicken, where someone had made an apartment out of a drainage area. And you go look at it now; it's beautiful, it's clean. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. Let Public Works know that I appreciate it. And City Manager, you got a tough job, and we don't have enough money for you. So I appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilor Williams. Councilmember Noble.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of questions, and I want to echo what Councilman Tex Williams just mentioned. Good presentation. I love the direction that you're going and the resources that we have available. And my hats is off to the PD and fire department for what you're doing every single day to try and impact the city by going out and answering these calls. City Manager, you mentioned Detective Gomez. Do we have, for the resident, a contact on how to reach him, or is it through the normal call center that we have?
It is through the normal call center, but I'll ask Chief Kirby to provide any additional information he might have.
The best way for that information to get to him would be the normal dispatch center.
Okay, all right. So the resident will know exactly how, and if they should need him directly to go out to a call to see something, or there's an impact on something that may be directly for him. Okay. All right.
Absolutely, and that would be both non-emergency and emergency, depending on the situation. Absolutely.
Got you. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Noble. Councilmember Williams.
We can also reach out on the Connect app, right?
Correct.
So how's that
Absolutely.
going to work? Is there going to be a section there just for that homeless and then tag it with that way, or what is it going to be? What is it going to be?
We don't have that. We are going to be updating the app, but there are still basically like an other. You've got starting. You just click on starting a request, and then you go through the process of what it's most applicable to, and that's how you can go through the process.
Could we add the word home, non-housed, homeless, whatever you want to do, and they can go straight to that department?
We will be updating
Good.
with more information. Yes.
So I love what you said. See something, say something, and then we'll do something.
Yes.
I love it. All right,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Williams. Councilmember Hernandez.
Could we provide the public with the non-emergency phone number?
Yes, ma'am. That number is 760-256-2211.
Thank you. Because we talk about it, but we don't provide that number, and I think people rarely call it. Instead, they call the 911, and the dispatcher has to. So I think that information is vital for our community to know that. The other question I had was the Department of Aging and Adult Services. I didn't see that listed as a resource for the community.
I believe we do have some programs with Department of Aging and Adult Services local. I didn't have the detailed information for the Department of Aging services that are local to our community, but I would like to put that resource information. I know I started compiling it, that we've asked some partners to provide some information so that we can get that information out. So that'll be something that we look forward to giving more outreach.
Right.
Yes.
At one time, the county Department of Behavioral Health used to attach a counselor to go out. I would love for them to go back to old school because it makes it so much easier. You have an officer go out, and it's very difficult for them to get to the root of the problem. Does someone need to be 5150? And that counselor had the authority to do that. That cut so much red tape. So I would like to see some of our staff get more in contact with our county departments. They have resources then, but you need to ask. I don't see them volunteering unless they have to. So.
Yes, absolutely. We'll be exploring that. The retired police chief, Walsh, that was here with us for some time, did write up some information on that type of a program, and so we will be exploring that, absolutely.
That's it.
Thank you, Councilmember Hernandez. Chief, did you have a response to that?
I do. We actually have that program in place. Unfortunately, our worker is out on some medical leave. It's long-term, but she actually has an office within the police department, and we work hand-in-hand with her when she's available.
Thank you. As Councilmember Williams mentioned, we do have the Homeward Bound Committee. With that committee, we have put together a resource list, and then I believe that resource list was fine-tuned to just food distribution for what was happening last week with SNAP, and was in the patrol cars to hand out. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that's the best thing the city's doing right now. We meet with a lot of the churches, a lot of the nonprofits within that committee, and we've organized what can be done, and we need to always try to fund those sources. So with that, Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak on this item?
Yes, we do. Our first speaker is Mr. Ted Wiesma.
Welcome, Mr. Wiesma.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council, and staff. I'm glad to hear what our city manager has presented tonight. I'm glad to see that the city is finding ways to help address this issue. I would point out that the city manager did indicate that these are local people, otherwise residents. They may not be property tax-paying residents, but they're still residents of this community. I think that's important to note and not speak of them as if they are not our residents. I think one of the things the city needs to do better is find ways to get volunteers to help. I've lived in many other cities, and every single one of them made good use of volunteers. In the past, city council has said that they're afraid to use volunteers because they might be sued. Well, maybe the legal counsel can tell you how many times a volunteer has sued the city. I highly doubt that it's honestly ever happened. If it has, it's been very rare, and you need to do better on getting volunteers to help. One of the things on these cleanup costs, of course, is disposing of the waste materials that are picked up. And I did not see that you've recommended Burtec as a partner. Most corporations like to do donations. As a matter of fact, it's usually part of their basic requirement to make donations. So make an effort to get out there and see if Burtec can help out, because I think they can. I also like to see the way it was presented tonight, not that you're out there to enforce and control, but to organize and bring various agencies that are already helping together. I believe you have a committee that has been doing that, and I think that should continue. The other thing is, where is the city putting its money in general? Are you putting your money into people that work to help in maintenance and parks and rec? Or are you putting money somewhere else? Frankly, you've made it clear in the past, you're broke. Well, you were broke many years ago and you passed Measure Q and brought in a few more $1 million, and you're broke again. I've said your
Thank you,
tax
Mr.
and
Wiesman.
spend. Watch it.
Thank you, Mr. Wiesma.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'd like to speak on this, but it says presentation only, so I didn't sign up. But now she tells me it's too late to speak. But
Next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is Ms. Marcia Wiesma.
I have a lot of information to share.
Welcome, Ms. Wiesma.
Thank you. I really enjoyed your presentation. I think my husband hit on the same thing, so I will not repeat those. When I first came down here, we had a desert sanctuary downtown. I believe Ms. Hernandez was on the board. It vanished after a while. And we still have a Desert Manna. Are they participating? Are they helping you out? Check with Mr. Fickstad. I also wondering if you had something in there that would address what Texas has been to and picking it up. all this mess and clutter. I don't know if it even has to have trash cans out there if they would use them. But it's kind of hard to be homeless, and I think Ron and his wife Rose Beardshare are doing, and their committees are doing a great job. They weren't even mentioned in this presentation. I hope that you do invite them back, City Manager, because they've got some great things to share. As far as helping, we've got every organization involved in this thing. What we do have in my own neighborhood, thank you, Mr. Police Chief, for clearing that problem up. And that was part of it on the Buena Vista. We have young children that are homeless. It's pretty brutal for them to go to school with nothing, a little bit of rags. Sometimes they fix them up. We're seeing a lot of that in the community, and I'd like to help with that. Basically, I think Ted said it. If you're homeless, you do need help, but they have to want the help. We can't pour it into their head and say, you will take this. They have to be wanting it. Most of them are. Again, I think you need to get the Beardshares and their people up here and have them do a presentation. The last one I went to was great. Thank you, Ron. Thank you again, Mr. Police Chief, for doing what you did. Thank you, Tex, for your last things that you've done for District 4. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Huisma.
Our next speaker is Mr. Jim Brown.
Welcome, Mr. Brown.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Jim Brown, Barstow. Tex, I appreciate what you did there on Riverside Drive. Getting the city out there to clean it up and everything. There is a problem out there, though, on Riverside Drive. We got a, I hate to say this, infestation of the people coming through there. They leave baskets and all their junk right around my house. They come in and steal my mail. I had to contact the post office so I can move my mail from the sidewalk up to my door. But when you have these 5150s out there just, yelling and screaming and whatnot, do we call the police on them or what at that time? Hollering at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. It's bad, but can these nonprofits, can they go out and feed them around on the drive? Because that's where they all at. It's a ton of them. And like you said, out there in the desert, about 3 houses down from me, y'all went out there and picked up all that trash and junk they had there. And, and I don't want to, I'm just like you. I don't want to beat up the homeless. I don't want to beat them up, but they are getting out of hand. They're getting out of hand. They're moving into people's houses, and you can't get them out. Can y'all make some kind of policy to eradicate them or something? Because that costs money for these people, these residents, And they burning houses down and destroying them and all like that. So, I got compassion for them, but then again, you got to do what you got to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
And our last speaker on this is Jonathan Corral, Jonathan.
Welcome, Mr. Corral.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to come up here and speak with you guys. My name is Jonathan. On behalf of me and my staff, we are Seed and Shelter. We're new to town. We have ability for bedding, which I know is something really important. We remodeled the entire park. We have brand new roads, brand new electrical. We have a total of 24 units. They've all pretty much passed through either Section 8. Right now, we have a contract with the probation department. So we're able to house anybody who's on probation as long as they're clean, sober living. We're also getting approved with DBH. So I really don't need any funding from the actual city because it pretty much comes from the county. But I would like to help with the homeless. I'm just looking for that additional funding. The facility is pretty much open. I have the privilege to walk it with Mr. Williams, and I think we're pretty impressed with everything we put together. I definitely want to thank the police department. They definitely have helped out cleaning up the property as well. Every time we call, they've been very helpful. And we look forward to the opportunity of working with you guys. So anybody who's on probation right now, I'd like to say, sorry, my staff actually has volunteered at local churches, and we've also been able to donate a bunch of time. So far, we've had a really good connection, and we're just hoping to continue to fill the beds because I know there's a dire need for it. So if you know of anybody, we're here to help. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Corral.
Mayor, I'd like to suspend the rules to let Mr. Snell speak.
I have a motion to suspend the rules to allow Mr. Snell to speak. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Councilmember Hernandez. Any discussion? Call for the vote.
And the motion passes.
Welcome, Mr. Snell. Rules have been suspended, allowing you to speak.
Thank you, and I'm sorry because it said presentation only, so thought that meant we couldn't speak on it. You know, homeless is a hot button subject with me, so is mental illness. Carmen, I'd like to see you call Mrs. Kashimoto. She's the director of mental health for the county. She promised me 2 workers out here, and what they did is move them to Apple Valley. She won't even answer my calls anymore because I go to the county board of supervisors. So if we can get those 2 out here, we have a mental health facility here that can treat those people. And, you know, the majority of the homeless, it's no secret. It's about mental illness and drugs. And they get that check, but they spend it on drugs. So, you know, I mean, we can't be suckers all the time. You know, code enforcement is to blame for a lot of what's going on because if you get your building red tagged, do you know that code enforcement and the city will not let you back in your own property to take care of it? So consequently, your garage gets burnt down or the house gets burnt down. They won't even let you back in there to mend your own property. That needs to change. Whether it's legal or illegal or whatever it is, that law needs to change so where these people can go back in there and take care of their stuff. Carmen, I'd like to see you, and I'll be glad to work with you, get a hold of the director of county mental health, because they promised me 2 workers out here, and they have the facility. Like the chief said, his person's been on leave probably 6 months, so we don't have anybody doing mental health, and it's not his fault. But it's our fault for being asleep at the switch. And Barstow has been, I don't know if you guys know this or not, Barstow has been a dumping ground for homeless from Orange County to Riverside County to all over Southern California. They bring them to Barstow and they dump them. And they've been doing that for years. And that's another big problem. And we need to find those people, the police departments that are doing it. We need to find them and stop them from doing it. You know, Barstow's a poverty community anyway, and then to add all that homeless here surely isn't helping the situation. You know, because they bring in crime, and if you look at some of the old restaurants and stuff, those people are breaking in there. There has to be some kind of way, or somebody that can beef up the boards or beef up the construction to where those people can't get in. It can be done, but it's going to take a little bit of ingenuity to stop those people from going in there. Thank you for allowing me to speak, folks.
Thank you, Mr. Snell.
That is all the comments we have.
Thank you. Bring it back to the council. Councilmember Williams.
Chief, do you know anybody, any city that is busing homeless up this to us or bringing in homeless And have you seen out in the field, have you seen new people that are not regularly out there in the streets?
Me? I don't know of any agency that's busing people to Barstow specifically, but yes, I have seen the transient or the unhoused population change over time. So frequently there's a new face out there.
Yeah, I think we're seeing more than what we did. On the last count we did for the county, there were certain rules on those counts, correct?
Yes.
And if a person was walking, even if you assume they're homeless, they were not allowed in the survey. It had to be, my understanding was, when they went out and did the count, they had to be in an encampment or in an area. But if they were just walking around, we were not to be asking them, are they homeless or not?
That wasn't my exact understanding if it was confined to a certain area, but that could be a cause to not be included in the count if they're not
I was here
stationary. If they're not stationary.
Yeah, they're not stationary. I was here that morning, and that's what I was told. You know, the message was you couldn't. So we don't even know what the real counts are. I mean, that's my point here. We're working along, we're living along with everyone, and at the end of the day, for their safety and our safety, we just need to make sure we can get an idea of how to figure it out. And I'm telling you, you got the idea. I appreciate it. I did walk that facility. Me and the Mayor Pro Tem walked it. We were impressed. It's an amazing little area you got down there. The amount of money you spent, I got to tell you, you got my total respect for what you're trying to do. And it's a very nice facility. And if we can ever figure one out, we can get people off the streets into a very, very beautiful place to stay. This is not just a bed and toss it away. It does come furnished, by the way. They do have furniture in there for them. So thank you so much. I would recommend that any council members get a hold of them afterwards and take your tour. It is unbelievable.
Thank you, Councilor Williams. And just to follow up, I can't speak for the whole council. I have no issue with volunteers. The city relies on volunteers. The last thing we did in conjunction with public was the Dignity Station. And trust me, volunteers were very hard to get. That was the biggest issue with staffing the Dignity Station, was the volunteers. You can ask Miss Edie Sheehafer the issue she had trying to get volunteers. And that was just a heating and cooling station. That's all that was. The beard shearers weren't mentioned by name, but New Life Fellowship was. That's who they operate through. And they do a great job. Thank you, Ron and Rose, for what you do. The problem I have with the count is it's usually done on a very cold early morning. If I could get myself shelter for 1 hour on that cold morning, I would do that. And what happens if you're sheltered for 1 hour during the count? Are you homeless?
That is one issue, is that you potentially are not included.
You are not homeless. If you
Right.
found yourself housing for 1 hour that day because it's very cold, windy.
Yes. I understand that the reasoning for going early is to have them stationary, but that's a very good point and valid point in how that happens.
Okay. So that concludes our presentation. With that, we're going to move on to general non-agendized public comment. This is the time and the place for the general public to address the governing board on matters not on the agenda and within the city's jurisdiction. Speakers are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes or less. All requests to speak must be received prior to the agenda item being addressed, and if special accommodations are required, a 48-hour notice must be given to the city clerk. Madam Clerk?
Yes, our first speaker is Miss Anna Fusey.
Welcome, Ms. Fusey.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Just a reminder that Barstow Senior Center is hosting our 49th anniversary dinner party on November 13th. We have a limited supply of tickets, 120. We're almost sold out. If you'd like to join us, we would love to have it. We're having disco nights. It is, we have a disco ball and everything that's been set up there, and so we're really excited. Also, Barstow Senior Center is the home of the holiday meals. Last year we fed about 256 people at a sit-down Thanksgiving dinner, and we are still looking for donations. As I said before, that money goes directly to feed everyone in the community here in Barstow. And if you haven't been, it's amazing the people that show up to volunteer. Even though we're short with volunteers all over the country, it's amazing that people that have shown up for years to come and celebrate. We also home-delivered meals. We did about 800 on Thanksgiving, and we will do the same on Christmas. We do not have a sit-down Christmas dinner, but we do have one for Thanksgiving. So if anybody wants to donate to the Barstow Senior Center under holiday meals, we'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Fusey.
Our next speaker is Mr. Brian Baker.
Welcome, Mr. Baker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. My name is Brian Baker. I am the chair of the Mojave Group of the Sierra Club, and I'd just like to talk for a couple of minutes about water issues in the desert, particularly the Cadiz groundwater mining project. That project has faced significant roadblocks and opposition this year. Over the last few months, California agencies and legislatures, tribal nations, and U.S. senators Padilla and Schiff have all taken actions to protect the desert from Cadiz. In June, State Senator Monique Limon and Assembly Member Isaac Bryan, who are chairs of the California Senate and Assembly Natural Resources Committees, wrote a letter to the State Lands Commission expressing deep concerns with Cadiz and urging the Commission to ensure Cadiz undergoes the legally required Water Code 1815 review, which blocks Cadiz from exporting any water unless Cadiz can first prove that its water mining efforts will not harm the natural or cultural resources of desert lands. Cadiz's own lobbyists stated it couldn't prove this, and the company has yet to start the two-year review process. Senator Limon, who wrote this letter, is also the incoming leader of the California State Senate. In response to that letter from legislatures, the State Lands Commission wrote to Cadiz's CEO, stating that any attempt by Cadiz to use its pipeline for water conveyance without its authorization could result in significant litigation. This follows the Commission's unanimous 3-0 vote in December 2024 to reject Cadiz's lease application. The Commission is made up of the governor's representative, the lieutenant governor, and the state controller, highlighting the strong state opposition to Cadiz. Things didn't get any better for Cadiz in July when U.S. Senators Schiff and Padilla wrote a letter to the Interior Secretary Doug Burgum describing the problems with Cadiz. The senator stated, quote, "The Department of the Interior experts, including U.S. Geological Survey and the National Park Service, as well as peer-reviewed scientific analyses, have warned of the significant and irreversible impacts that Cadiz's project could have on federal lands and surrounding communities," end quote. Senators reminded the federal administration of the need to conduct legally required review of Cadiz's groundwater pumping. Cadiz has long sought to evade this and is lost in court every time. Conclusion is clear. Cadiz's empty promises and failed schemes are now 3 decades old. Meanwhile, sustainable water solutions continue to create well-paying jobs locally while protecting the environment. Water security won't come from corporate pipe dreams like Cadiz. At its core, Cadiz isn't offering water, it's selling a mirage. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baker.
Our next speaker is Mr. Ted Wiesma.
Welcome, Mr. Wiesma.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council, and staff. I've mentioned more than one time that I think the city is financially irresponsible in the way it's spending citizens' funds. My biggest concern is that you put money into wages, although I understand that is a problem. It's this town compared to other towns. But you seem to ignore the fact that the public has mentioned over and over and over, you need to maintain your facilities. And you really haven't been doing a good job, and it doesn't seem like you're still planning on doing a good job. You need to hire more park and recreation personnel and more maintenance personnel. The jobs that are out there far exceed the ability of your existing small staff. Pay attention on who you're going to hire and what their job is, and put it somewhere where you're helping the community and not hurting individual citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wiesma.
Our next speaker is Ms. Marcia Wiesma.
Welcome, Mr. Wiesma.
Yes, thank you very, Mr. Mayor. First, this has come up for a long time, and I did get to make the phone call text. I called Tommy up and gave him a personal thank you for cleaning the bathrooms. Then he said he had a couple of calls from children. So your work is going great at the football field. Mayor, a while back we discussed doing something for Route 66, the 100th birthday that's showing up. Are there any plans? Is it still going on? I do have some ideas. We were on a committee and started to get it going, and then funding left during the last mayor. I also have a question, and I'm not sure who this goes to, whether it be Sydney, the mayor, or the police chief, or Chris, or whomever, but I've seen several accidents on Main Street where the trees are, and I'm talking the small trees that were planted, I believe, the second year of Mr. Courtney's term, and talking to Maryland, who was on the council, said those trees were to be dedicated by the people that gave the money, and they were kind of a memorial. Well, if somebody causes an accident and the city recoups the money, they fix the wall, they fix the sidewalk, what happened to the trees? You got money for them. That should go to Parks and Recreation, that money to replace the trees. They did not. Someone needs to look into that. And also, we went once on a early morning walk when they did the homeless, and I'm not sure who the police officer was. I'd have to look it up, but he was handing out leashes, collars, and in the hot weather, I've seen that same officer hand out the little paws, shoes for the dogs. I think that's a great idea, and maybe the city should invest in some nice things for the residents. And all you can do is just keep on plugging Tex and the rest of you, and someday we'll get back to being what Barstow was many, many years ago. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wiesma.
Our next speaker is Mr. Mike Hernandez.
Welcome, Mr. Hernandez.
Thank you. My first question is, I called code enforcement 3 times. Nobody's picked up the phone. So what do you do if you have a code enforcement violation or you feel there's one? Can you pursue it? Who would you call? And if there's a transient living behind a piece of property, who do you call for that? My next thing is the street committee meeting was canceled, and I'm kind of curious why. The last budget, the city approved $6 million for streets to be taken care of. I have yet to see any of that come up or being put out for bid. I know eventually it will be. It always is, but maybe a year later. That really concerns me, that we have money to do projects, but the project's delayed so long. And who takes the blame for that? The chair? You, Mr. Silver? Meetings are being canceled. They were canceled way before when you were here and Marilyn was here. And I just don't want to see this thing go back the same way as it did before. Another thing is that there's $5 million that's owed to the city, and the city has yet to collect it for the bridge. I brought this to the street committee meeting 3 months ago. I don't know what the status of it is. I would like to hear a status, public status, so people know what's going on. Because I've always been complaining since I've been here and since the new city manager's come on, we need somebody to monitor contracts. That was a contract, is falling through the vine and is not being taken care of. Is the close down creating problems for the city, considering we have that Fort Irwin contract? Are we still putting out money for that work to be done out there? And is it coming out of the general fund? And one thing that scares me the most, I watch the stock market report quite a bit, and it says some of the contractors will not be paid. I don't know if that's going to affect us, but I have a concern if ongoing contracts are being done and we're putting out money, will we receive all our money back? And that's the total of my questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez.
Our next speaker is Mr. Jim Brown.
Welcome, Mr. Brown.
Good evening again, Mayor. Jim Brown Barstow. I do want to thank Ms. Clayton for filling her staff, all her people that she got. So that means that we should get some results now if she have them all full. And so, Tex, when I was last here, you called me out on Facebook, and I left it alone. That's why I'm not on Facebook. But I did, you got involved with Apple Valley, and the voices of Apple Valley called you out because you had called their council rock stars, and they beat you up. They tore you a new one. And so I'm going to say, Tex, don't go over there. Don't go to Apple Valley. Stay right here, do your thing, because they don't want you over there. Now, the council may want you over there, but the people don't want you over there because you had got in it with this guy named Ted, and he put out a video on you. So I'm just saying, don't go over there. Please, just stay there. And I got a phone call from the house that you went into. And they were upset. They were pissed that you went in there and took the city with you. And they asked me, what should they do? And I just told them, just go and file your complaint. Because they upset. They upset with you. They upset with you, and they just don't want, because the city, they're going to wind up have to pay for the abatement that you caused. So, and I just told them to just file a complaint, and then you go from there.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
And our last speaker is Mr. E.T. Snell.
Welcome, Mr. Snell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. My name is E.T. Snell. The website's www.etsnell.com. Barstow, council members, I'd like all your attention, is sitting on a powder keg. Mr. Nobles, a powder keg. And the reason I say that is EBT will not be restored until the government is open, and they'll tell how long that's going to be. The population of Barstow is 24,666. That's what Google says, 666. That's sure not good. Anyway, 23% of Barstow's population lives below the poverty level. So we have a whole bunch of people here in Barstow poor. We got 6,318 school kids at 14 schools. You guys, can you see those people, what it's going to be like if it lasts another 2-3 weeks? You're going to be in a powder keg. I don't care how many police cars you park in front of these stores, they're still going to be in there. They're going to be calling in the military. My solution to that is an ounce of prevention is worth a ton of cure. You know, I think that if we use some of that Measure Q money, I don't know if we can, I believe we can, to feed the homeless, because we got about 5,000 people that are going to be needing food, and we no telling how many of the kids. So I think if we get together with the schools, we start feeding them at the schools, we could set up boxes, donation boxes at all the markets. We've got Walmart, Food for Less, Stater Brothers, and then we got the 99-cent stores. If you guys have the opportunity, I'm telling you right now, believe me, I've been to those LA riots and stuff when stuff cooked off. And it's going to happen again here in Barstow because we don't live in Hollywood or Beverly Hills. We live in Barstow. And there's a lot of minority here and there's a lot of hungry people here. So I'm suggesting I have a nonprofit. I'll be able to work with you guys any way I can and try to feed these people, especially at the schools. I think there's money available. I think now's the time to use that Measure Q money instead of remodeling the police station. They didn't even put in a bathroom, the Chihuahua, the former police chief, and I think this police chief is doing a good job. Matter of fact, we met at the school district, and I want to thank you, Chief, for going, and Mrs. Day, Deputy Day, Detective Day. There's 27 open cases of pedophilia involving 3 teachers, just 3 teachers. But when the law changed, they went back. Now, the problem is we don't have any insurance for some of that, I believe, and the school's going to be bankrupt. And that's where the corruption's going to come in. But let's work and try to feed these.
Thank you, Mr. Snell.
25,000 homeless,
Thank you, Mr. Snell.
residents.
We have no more comment.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have no public hearings. With that, we will move on to the consent calendar public comment. This is the time and the place for the general public to address the governing board on matters on the consent calendar. Speakers are asked to limit their comments on all consent items to 3 minutes or less. All requests to speak must be put in prior to the agenda item being addressed. And if special accommodations are required, a 48-hour notice must be given to the city clerk. Madam Clerk?
We have no comment on our consent, and with that, I'll go ahead and read it. Item 5 is the minutes for the joint special meeting held September 2nd, 2025 at 6 p.m. The recommended action is to approve minutes as presented. Item 6 are the minutes for the joint special meeting held October 7th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. The recommended action is to approve minutes as presented. Item 7 is a ratification of accounts payable expenditures for July and August. The recommended action is to approve and ratify expenses as audited for checks 101034 through 101355, totaling $4,263,018.42, and wires 1207 through 1217, totaling $295,619.15. Per the agency breakdown as follows: City, $4,429,045.27. Fire, $129,592.30, for a grand total of $4,558,637.57. Item 8 is the acceptance of the fiscal year 2023 Homeland Security Grant Program award as a subrecipient through the San Bernardino County Fire Protection District, Office of Emergency Services. The recommended action is authorize staff to accept the subrecipient award of the fiscal year 2023 Homeland Security Grant Program award in the amount of $16,200 and to appropriate funds in the amount of $16,200 to account numbers as follows: Fiscal Year Homeland Security Grant Program expenditure 217-217-217-07761. Item 9 is the acceptance of the fiscal year 2024 Homeland Security Grant Program award as a subrecipient through the San Bernardino County Fire Protection District Office of Emergency Services. The recommended action is to authorize staff to accept the subrecipient award of the fiscal year 2024 Homeland Security Grant Program award in the amount of $17,351 and to appropriate funds in the amount of $17,351 to account numbers as follows. The fiscal year 2024 Homeland Security Grant Program expenditure 217-217-217-07762. Item 10 is the approval of updated memorandums of understanding for Unit 6 contract. The recommended action is staff recommends that the City Council take the following action. 1, to approve the memorandum of understanding with Unit 6 and authorize the city manager to sign the agreement on the city's behalf. Item 11 is the approval of updated memorandum of understanding for Unit A BPMA contract. The recommended action is staff recommends that the City Council take the following action. 1, to approve the MOU with Unit 8 and authorize the city manager to sign the agreement on the city's behalf, Attachment B. Item 12 is fiscal year 2024-2025 proposed budget amendment for year-end cleanup adjustment and budget carry forwards. The recommended action is staff recommends the City Council take the following action. 1, to approve the amendments to various funds and accounts in the city's adopted fiscal year 2024-2025 operating and capital improvement budget as outlined in the attached proposed budget amendment Attachment A, and 2, adopt the updated fiscal year 2024-2025 carry forward budget and appropriate the funding for fiscal year 2026, including the associated revenue and expenditure transfers as identified in Attachment B. And that is the end of the consent calendar, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Questions of staff on the consent calendar? Councilmember Williams.
One question. I see that our citations are being, we use a company in Arizona to do our citations. We pay them to do, to process them, everything else. Here's my question. Why aren't we doing our own citations, keeping our own money? If we're paying them $170-something to do that, what also do they get? Do they take a percentage of the citations? What do we actually get out of a citation?
They do take a percentage of the citation. The staffing and resources that the city would need to put in place to process its own collections would far exceed the cost that it takes to just pay that offset. What I would like to see in that standard practice is an RFP for other collection agencies at some point. It's typical to have a period of time, at least 5 years, before you look at those items. And that's something we will be looking at in the future. And I think, as I can let Finance Director Harris elaborate on that.
That is correct. We actually just recently ran an RFP for collection services just to update this process to see if there was any competitors out there. Unfortunately, there were no successful competitors. So we are still maintaining this contract, but because of the resource and the use of time and staffing, it is the best use of resources to outsource this function.
Okay, here comes the next one. What is the value of our citations that we are bringing into the city?
Currently, this is a newer process. I think in last year, maybe a year and a half, we weren't doing the parking citations for a short time. So we have not had a full period of evaluation to see if there's going to be more than expected. But as the last check of the budget before this meeting tonight, we are actually already over budget as far as the revenues collected this year for the parking citations. It's a small amount, but with time, we can actually better adjust that revenue budget in future years to see if it's worthwhile.
I just think we really don't know if it's what the cost is and what the expenditure is going to be. So that bothers me. I mean, we're just throwing it out there. We don't know. And we should really look at that. And if we can make $1, we should make that dollar here in the state of California, not in Arizona. That's my opinion.
I would like to add that they come with a function of the ability to garnish the taxpayers. So if there is a collection that's gone over the limited amount of time, there is more, how should I say, they have more tools to be able to go after those dollars. Similar to how our liens work, they will be paid out of those taxpayer dollars to us directly. So there is some value there.
Well, I think you're doing a great job, and I think you could figure it out and make us some money. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Williams. Seeing no other requests for questions, I will call for the vote on the consent calendar. A motion. Do we get?
Motion.
Yes,
to,
motion.
To approve.
I have a motion by
consent calendar.
Councilmember Hernandez, a second by Councilmember Williams. Call for the vote.
And the motion to approve consent passes unanimously.
Thank you. With that, we have no deferred items. We'll move on to business action items. Item 13, award of construction management contract for traffic signal improvements on Main Street and Barstow Road projects. The recommended action, staff recommends that the City Council, 1, approve and award the construction management contract for the traffic signal improvements to Main Street and Barstow Road projects to TransTech, Inc., in the amount of $128,580. 2, grant the city manager or her designee the authority to sign the construction management service agreement and any related documents. City Manager, Mrs. Clayton.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. I would like to introduce Community Development Director Hildreth to provide this presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Mayor and council, the item you have before you tonight is a two-part. This is the first item, and then the next agenda item is the actual construction part. But this item is about the construction management. It's a contract for construction management for the project that is going to be replacing 11 traffic signals on Main Street and 2 traffic signals on Barstow Road. The project includes traffic safety improvements by replacing the traffic signal heads, light emitting, which is LEDs, signal indicators, and yellow reflective back plates, replacing the pedestrian signal heads with countdown heads to where ticks down whenever you push the button, installing video detection units, and replacing upgrading traffic signal controller units. Some of our controller units are extremely old. You can't program them, you can't time them in conjunction. So like on first and main, second and main, those signals are very finicky, and we're hopeful that they last. And so this will be a contract for a construction management company to manage the project to replace all of these. And like I said, it's 11 traffic signals on Main Street, and then it goes all the way down, and then it goes up on Barstow Road as well. The city did conduct a competitive bid process for the construction management company, and then once a construction company management company was selected, we also did some more negotiations to make the project fit underneath our budget that we have for this project. This is a budget that this is a project that is funded through HSIP funds, which is a grant, and we got it to fit within this parameters to get to execute this. So with that, I'll take any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Mr. Hildreth. Councilmember Noble.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. If this contract is approved, who maintains the contract and who oversees the traffic signals to ensure that they are operational and conducted right?
So the project itself will get ran through our community development department, which will be myself and then some of the staff. We would probably assign one of the staff members to oversee the project. Our consultant city engineer also is a team member that helps us with this. So we would all oversee the construction management company that also oversees the project. Granted, so we have a couple different things. Our public works department manages the actual traffic signals throughout the year. And then if something were to be damaged, we have I'm trying to think of the name of the company, but if somebody recently, we actually just had one where a car ran over the the controller, and we have to get that, it's an emergency fix. And for the life of me, I cannot remember the name of the company, but do you remember? But it's a third-party company that comes out and maintains those and repairs them for us.
Okay, so it's not an actual staff from the city, it's someone outside that we have to call to bring in?
Some of it, there's minor things that we can do internally. If it's something that is catastrophic, where it's replacing something inside there, then we do have a third-party vendor come out and do that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Noble. Councilmember Hernandez, questions?
Yes, and I think the primary question is, we said we were going to have one individual keep track of contracts. So the question is, has that individual been hired, and who is going to be tracking? Because I think that's a primary concern because of past issues.
We are centralizing the contract management. We have the new assistant finance director who is assisting with updating our purchasing policy and purchasing processes. And with that, that's step one. And then we're going into the contract management. So we're compiling that process. So it's underway. It's underway to have that centralized. I also am working to compile existing contracts and have more analysis conducted so that we have, right now, the city clerk is the official document maintenance with our contracts. They do go through city attorney approval, and we have that official record, but we want to develop a contract monitoring system that will be effective. It's not in place now, but it is underway.
Could we possibly have a report within 3 months as to the status? Because that's a very serious concern for the community.
Yes, absolutely.
And the other question I have, could we vote on 13 and 14 since our community development, he went and explained about the construction company? So if we could do that jointly.
Do we have requests to speak on both?
We have no comment on either item,
Okay.
item 13 or 14.
Okay, then yes, I'll allow that. So number 14, award the contract for the traffic signal improvements on Main Street and Barstow Road projects. Recommended action, the staff recommends that the City Council, number 1, approve and award the construction contract to Crosstown Electrical and Data, Inc. Number 2, approve and award the traffic signal improvements on Main Street and Barstow Road project budget for the construction contract, design, administrative program, management, construction management services, and contingencies, and appropriate the necessary funding as follows. Funding type, Highway Safety Improvement Program, HSIP, account number 400-803-316-17, .217, fiscal year budget $693,119. Additional funding, 26 budget request, $18,405. Adjusted fiscal 26 budget, $711,524. Funding type, SB1, road maintenance and rehabilitation, account number 400.803.316.21.211, fiscal year budget 26, $497,000. Additional funding, 26 budget request, $3,000. Adjusted fiscal year 26 budget, $500,000. And development impact fees, account number 400.803.316.21.425. Fiscal year budget 26, $75,000. Adjustment 0, total $75,000, for a total of fiscal year 26 budget $1,265,119,000. Adjustments for 26, $21,405, for a total of $1,286,524. And number 3, grant the city manager and her designee the authorization to sign the construction contract and any related documents associated with the project. City manager, Ms. Clayton, anything to add for number 4? I'm sorry,
Nothing.
14. 14.
Nothing to add, thank you.
Human Development Director Hildreth, anything to add for 14? Okay, and we had no request to speak. I see no more questions from council. I ask for a motion and a second.
I give you a motion.
And I second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Williams, second by Councilman Noble. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote.
I am waiting on one more vote.
It won't lock. Okay, there we go.
There it goes. And the motion for items 13 and 14 carries 4-0.
Thank you. With that, we will move on to item 15, adoption of a resolution of the City Council of the City of Barstow of California amending fiscal year 25-26 publicly available pay schedule, confirming police chief salary range, adoption of a reclassification of fire inspector to emergency medical services specialist, and adoption of a new classification for multimedia coordinator. Recommended action, it's a long one. Okay. Number 1, that the City Council adopt resolution number 5228-2025, amending the fiscal year 2025-2026 publicly available pay schedule to confirm the police chief salary range, reclassification, the emergency medical service specialist, and adopt new multimedia coordinator position. There is no fiscal impact from the police chief salary range action, as this is an administrative action confirming the existing salary range. Number 2, EMSS. There is no fiscal impact from adopting this resolution, as an emergency medical service specialist position is a reclassification of the current position of fire investigator to EMSS at step 11460-77,000 to 93,978. Number 3, multimedia coordinator. This fiscal impact for fiscal year 25-26 budget from adding the multimedia coordinator position is approximately $55,642.30. Top step from 1225-63026, including benefits. City Manager, Ms. Clayton.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. This item does cover 3 positions from 3 different departments. So just before I turn it over to Administrative Director Turner to provide a presentation, I would like to call out that Action 3 does provide a budget impact of $55,642. However, that is absorbed with an offset. The city has ended a contract with the public information firm previously contracted with at $4,000 a month. So there is a cost savings of approximately the same amount. It's $48,000, so just under, and that almost nets when you factor in some other processes and the fact that this will not be absorbed with the full annual fiscal year. So with that, I will turn it over to Administrative Director Turner.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. As City Manager mentioned, we have 3 issues on the table. One of them is for the police chief's salary. This is just a correction. The city's new police chief was hired within a range of 12380, and it was a single range. It was currently set up as a tier 1 or tier 2, so we are correcting that and having an accurate salary range for our chief. The second one is for the EMSS specialist, and this position will be working in the fire division. This position will be benefiting the community in many ways. It's mentioned in our staff report, but there are some highlights handling the San Bernardino County Emergency Medical Services Officers Association, California Department of Public Health, the Barstow Community Hospital. So there are a lot of services that this individual would be providing the community. And this position is a reclass, as we mentioned earlier. There is no increase for salaries. The last one is the multimedia coordinator, and this position will serve as a central resource for creating, managing, and delivering visually compelling content that tells our city's story. This position is responsible for producing and managing photography, Channel 6, video graphics, making recruitment videos for us, doing all sorts of things in regards to social media, newsletter, and community campaigns. And this position, as the mayor mentioned, does have a fiscal impact, and there is some funding coming from our previous PIO contract. And with that, I will stop and see if there are any questions.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Turner. And I do have a question, Councilmember Williams.
I'm kind of already doing that for you for free. I don't know why we have to go out and hire somebody, so, continue on what we're doing.
Seeing no further questions, Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak from public?
We have no comment on item 15.
With that, I'll call for a motion and a second.
Mayor, I move that we move to approve the recommendations with staff on item number 15.
I second.
I have a motion to approve from Councilmember Noble, second from Councilmember Hernandez. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote.
And the motion for item 15 passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item 16, local measure I, transportation sales tax revenue bond financing. Recommend action. Staff recommends that the city council select the preferred financing and direct staff to pursue the funding option for capital improvement funding. City Manager, Ms. Clayton.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. This item was previously presented to the council with direction to staff to bring back additional options. So I would like to introduce Finance Director Harris to provide this presentation.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight, we are bringing back the additional options requested by Council in a previous meeting. We do have a slideshow, but I don't know that it's been, okay. So what we have in front of you here in your staff report are the lower options available to us using the Measure I revenue as the method of leverage. So what we've done is we've taken the option and used, instead of the full amount of revenue, we've reduced it to an option that shows $750,000 as the debt constraint, which allows for a surplus of $1,056,119 available. We also have an option of $1 million as the debt constraint, leaving the surplus of $806,119 available. And the same for the $1,204,080, leaving $602,040 available for surplus. And by saying surplus, that means that this is an amount left for maintenance or other items that may need to be attended to within the fiscal year. This allows for a project deposit of respectively $8.5 million, $11.5 million, and $13.9 million. And that will be available for the capital projects that Mr. Heldreth is preparing to present to council in next coming council meeting. This is also to accentuate those projects that were approved by council, the original $6 million from the capital improvement project at the beginning of this fiscal year. Items of note for this financing, I wanted to call to attention that This is a bond measure, which means that there is a 10-year bond protection or a call protection, which means that there will be no ability to prepay this amount or pay early until after that 10-year call protection has expired. Additionally, this is a bond which is more secure than your average stocks or other type of securities, which means that there's not a lot of market volatility in the percentage or the APR on the amount due. So today it shows a percentage of 3.38%, and I've been told that that amount is pretty much where they can see if we elect to do this within the next few months, this amount will be approximately where we'll be when we sign the documents. Funding can occur within 3 months, and that clock starts when the documents are signed. And I also want to call to attention that this is based on the Measure I revenue funding, which is a program that is due to sunset in 2014. So that gives us approximately 14 years to take advantage of the funding, as well as call the bond protection. So the later we go with pulling the trigger, essentially, for this financing, the shorter the opportunity is that we can take advantage of it. So let's just say if we come back next year and decide to go forward with this item, that window of opportunity is now 13 years. The bond council does not go beyond the sunset period, even though this is one of the items that has been it's been voted on and passed from prior years. I believe it was 2012. With that, if I am available for any questions.
Yes, thank you. Councilmember Hernandez.
I don't see anywhere here what the payments would be.
So we haven't gotten to that point yet. So when we come back, if council decides to move forward, here we go. If council decides to move forward with a financing option, documents will be prepared and brought back that will actually finalize what our percentage rate looks like, and that also will include our payment amounts. Right now, it's approximate because we haven't made any decisions right now.
What would the approximate amount be?
So depending on which option we go with, we are looking at, you can take the debt constraint. So if we take out, let's just say, let's just go with the lowest amount, the $8.5 million that gets deposited into our account, you're looking at a par amount of $8 million. You can spread that out over 14 years. So you may be looking at just under, well, it also depends on how the interest rate's factored in there. So without giving you any guesses, it would be under, let's see, the debt constraint, the 750 would be about where we would be every year. So the image is now in front of you. That is what the 750 is stating. It's a 750 annual debt constraint.
1,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And we're in debt right now for $3.6 million.
Well, this is for Measure I alone, so this is not impacting the general
I
fund.
know, but I'm saying it adds to our debt service.
Correct.
That's correct.
And I believe that is on the next slide.
There
if
is
you
another
wanted
slide
to
available. Yeah,
advance.
thank you. There is a slide available here that actually goes through and outlines the debt that we have assigned to our different departments.
I know, that's where I got the 3.6.
Yes.
Okay. Here's another question I have. We were supposed to bring the RFP this month. Based on what we had already said we were going to do, which is the $6 million, is that correct?
Correct.
Right. So we actually Well, no, the next question is how much are we getting in Measure I, actual amount?
For revenue,
Yes.
last year's amount was $1.8 million if you include all reimbursements and interest. So it was just over $1.8 million.
Okay. My biggest concern is our lack of having money for maintenance. The fact that in the past, we did fix the streets, and unfortunately, we did not have the money to maintain them. So it concerns me when we want to spend more money building streets that we possibly cannot maintenance. We got that report, correct? That said, some ridiculous amount of money to maintain them. And my concern is we don't know, with the big project and everything, as far as funding, what we actually are going to need, or is that correct?
We don't have that data at this time.
Right. And so then my question is, the RFP we're going to get, is that for what we already agreed to?
Yes.
Or is that what we're going to get at the next?
At the next meeting,
At
there
the
will
next
be
meeting.
the RFP presentation for the $6 million funding that was already approved from council.
Right. And my concern in this, my understanding was it was going to come to the street committee for discussion, in regards to payments and all that, and it didn't. It came straight to council, which is fine. There's not a problem about that. But I have a problem not knowing what projection is in the future that you need to borrow when we don't know what the future projects are going to be. And my concern is, can we afford the payment and do the maintenance work? That's my question to staff. Chris?
I will ask Community Development Director Hildreth to provide some input. I will say that there are a lot of unknowns, but what we do know is that this approach, bringing the multiple options to council, does allow some flexibility if council decides to go forward with having more availability to leave some funding from Measure I as it stands now, current projections for maintenance. But with that, I will turn this over to Community Development Director Hildreth to provide a little more information.
Yes, thank you. For the first question about the RFP coming is, we do intend on bringing that to the next council meeting to go out for the bidding process to start the projects for the scopes that we were provided, or the money we were allocated.
But for those specific ones, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Nothing extra.
So what we want, this meeting will dictate some of that as well. Plans have already been designed for other projects throughout the city. Previously, whenever we did our first trip financing back 10 years ago approximately, so some of the plans were already prepared. We asked the city engineers to dust those plans off to have them ready just in case we were to obtain financing. We would be able to include them in the project scope that we'll be bringing to the next council meeting. Everything is economy of scale. And what I mean by that is if you're going to award me a contract or a contractor a contract to do one road compared to 10 roads, you're going to get a better price. That's just the way it works. Of course, we are limited to the budget. What's happened to us over the last month or couple months after we were awarded the contract or awarded that money to start to get some of these projects done is that our mayor and the city manager worked with SBCTA and had conversations. SBCTA stepped up to the plate. Originally, they were going to give us $700,000 to do Rimrock Road, they actually are giving us approximately $3.6 million now. So that has drastically changed some things. Kudos to those individuals for having the conversations. In addition to that, Rimrock Road is also owned, half of it is owned by the county. So with some other contacts, we reached out as well, and the county has now come to the table, because it makes, I mean, we would have paved half of it, obviously, but it's not very good sense to go in there and pave half the road and cause so much, traffic issues, to not just pave the other half. So we've been working with the county. They've confirmed they will give us $1.5 million to do Rimrock from H Street to Agarita as well. What that's done, though, is it's delayed us in preparing the plans, and getting that ready to come to council to go out to bid. During that process, we were given some direction to look at the financing as well. So with all of that combined into the factor, we've been delaying bringing the project forward to council to tell us to send it out for RFP for the project itself, because we keep expanding the project. During that process, Caltrans showed up as well. They are going to be replacing the Barstow Road and Rimrock light signal, saving the city of Barstow approximately $1.7 million. So a lot of agencies have been showing up due to the contacts that have been made, and so it's a great thing. Obviously, it's slowed us down, too, because we have to incorporate all of those into the plans. So with that, the big pause also was about financing. If we were to finance streets, we would include additional projects. We're hopeful that we would get, instead of just doing, 2 or 3, we had 4 or 5 streets identified previously with the $6 million project. This is going to get all of West Section 7 potentially, Rimrock Road. It'd be council's direction to do those projects, but it will potentially get those if we were to do some of this financing. So we have the plans, but at the same time, it depends on the budget, and that's when we'll dial it back.
Okay, that's my question, okay? All you've told me about, I was aware in the street committee. And my understanding with the engineer, that it had all been included. West Section 7, you're telling me would not get done unless we borrowed money?
Currently, there is no money in that $6 million that we were allocated. That was for Grace.
Oh, my question. Just answer my question.
You are correct. Yes,
That's all I
would
want to
not be
know.
able to fund West Section 7.
Okay. My concern is, and thank you for going through us getting all the extra money. That's my concern. What else is out there? And we put ourselves in debt when we had the opportunity to get other funding. Don't you think that's a little premature? Because if we had done what we did, correct?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, if we would have sent it or borrowed money, the one thing I can tell you is, so Measure I funds, and I know there was a comment earlier, Measure I funds you cannot use for anything else.
Oh, I understand that.
Yeah, so Measure I, just so everyone knows that Measure I, you can't use those funds for any other infrastructure project except for streets.
Exactly, and for many years, we did not do that.
Yes, so with that, obviously there's a limited amount of money that comes in every single year. So in order for you it's up to council. If you want to get ahead on doing additional streets, the option is you finance or you wait till you have enough money to do a project. We also used Measure I local funds to pay for the First Street Bridge. We've
Oh, that's another question I have.
Yeah, so we've done some of these things to pay for some of the bridges and things that we've been doing improvements on. But also the county, SBCTA won't give us money to fix our non-arterial roads, which are your primary routes. So like Rimrock is an arterial road that is a thoroughfare that everybody, a lot of people drive on. So the SBCTA won't give us money to go fix Gray Street. They will give you money to go fix those arterial roads, and that's why. So if we were to fix all the arterial roads, SBCTA wouldn't be giving us more money. So there is restrictions on some of that as well.
So we think it out as to how we can get the money from them. But do we or do we not have a $5 million reimbursable from SBCTA for the bridge?
So we currently, the $5 million is the CPUC grant that we were awarded. We have.
Have we gotten any of it back?
No, currently no. However, there has been a lot of cleanup, as some of you know, on some of the files and going through it. That entire bill was submitted to Caltrans, and we believe, unfortunately, there is the government shutdown. So
Understood.
some of that, to try to get them to answer those questions, they're not working. So whenever before the government shutdown, Caltrans and the federal on the Highway Bridge Program, they were actually helping us tremendously to finish the paperwork on that. So we have completed that package and we submitted it. I believe it was last week. Unfortunately, it's with Caltrans, which
Those are federal funds?
some of it is federal funds for them to review on some of that stuff.
And some are state funds?
Correct.
The state funds, there's no hold on that.
Well, they won't process the paperwork though, unfortunately. So
Without.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm thinking, okay? We're going to borrow 8. We're owed 5. Couldn't we use that 5 to do the extra projects?
I mean, I can't.
Could that money can only be used for that? The $5 million that we're due back? That's my question.
If I could jump in, the $5 million could be used for any Measure I eligible projects, which would include the projects
Right.
on the table. Whether to do the $5 million and borrow on top is a policy question for the council.
Well, that's what I'm trying to balance here. We want to borrow 8, talking the lowest, because I don't like to get into debt. But we have 5 coming in.
We have expectations for 5. It's uncertain exactly how much of that we'll get.
But
We
that's.
are pursuing
but-
all 5.
So that's my point, to make a decision without knowing. That's an example. Just like you gave me the examples of SBCTA coming in with new funds. That's what I'm talking about, that situation, and that's what concerns me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Hernandez. Councilman Noble?
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. And Mr. Heldridge, thank you for that presentation and the discussion you had on Rimrock. It was good news to hear that. I was just hoping that it was in this one, but maybe it's coming in the future for Rimrock and Barstow Road. Because I just seen another accident on Rimrock within the last couple of weeks and stuff. So we're in dire need to get that repaired as soon as possible. My question is for Ms. Harris. The interest rate of the 3.38, is that for the 10-year period? And if it is, if the interest rate goes down, do we get an adjustment to do that as well?
So-
Or we are locked in at the 3.38?
Correct. Once the documents are signed, we will be locked into the 3.38.
Okay, so, and the bond is for 10 years, well, how long is the bond? But we have to pay for at least 10 years.
Right.
And if we pay the 10 years, then we can go around and then turn around and pay it off.
We can, so the time that we have available to us right now, if we were to elect to go forward with this tonight, would be 14 years, 10 of which we will have to stick with the terms as is. After the end of that 10 years, we can choose to refinance or pay it off, or, finance for a higher dollar amount. It just depends on what the situation is at that point.
Okay, and then the cost of this, we're gonna talk about at our next council meeting.
Yes.
To determine
If we choose to move forward, we will come in and we'll have documents that will discuss all of the terms, signing terms, length of the debt, interest rates, everything.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Noble. We're approving tonight to move forward to bring us back the numbers. I'm not seeing, is there any cost that we're locked into, cost for processing or anything like that?
Cost of issuance would also be part of those documents as well.
But what I'm saying is, because we're not deciding tonight to finance.
No.
So when you bring us that document, is there any funds that we've incurred for processing?
Not yet, no.
But will we have?
We will not start to incur fees until after we've triggered the actual financing to occur.
Okay,
So if
thank
we-
you.
Oh, go ahead.
That answers my question. I just want to be sure there's not going to be any processing paperwork fees incurred.
Not yet.
All fees will be post accepting the bond.
Correct.
The bond rate, and my understanding, this is an approved bond, so the rate is what it is. It's not fluctuating with the market because it's an approved bond.
Correct.
But it is tied to an A+ rating. I don't recall. It was a few years ago we got our last rating, I think from Standard & Poor's. What was that rating?
I believe it was A+. It was part of our former presentation with UFI. If
I don't remember though, but it was A+?
I think
I
so.
believe it was at least A+. It might have been A++ or
AA
yes.
plus?
It was
A++?
at minimum A+, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Would that get us a better rate then, since it's A++? All right.
We'll double check the rates if the council decides to direct it to return for further
Right.
assessment.
Okay. And that was my main question. I just want to be sure that the council fully understands that there is no cost. We're just moving this forward. Councilmember Hernandez? Questions?
The question is, yes, isn't there a fee? Because if you bring this forward at the next meeting, that's saying that we're going through with it. Is that correct? That's my understanding based on what you're saying.
It would still require a council vote to approve any financing.
But that's not the question. I understand about our voting. What I am saying is, the question is that if we move forward, you're actually making that commitment, and those fees will be there, because we're not exploring whether we're going to do it. We are going to do it when she brings that information back.
No,
That's my
respectfully.
understanding.
What will return is a series of options, either one or two or three, but there will be no commitment of funding unless and until the council votes to approve the bond.
Well, I just wanted that
No,
clarified.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Important to clarify,
That
but
the-
so any vote taken tonight does not approve a bond, and it does not approve any money to be spent on a bond.
I want that on the record. Thank you.
That was the purpose for my question. One more question regarding $5 million coming from here, $8 million coming from Malone, what we have approved. The last number I heard for if we wanted to improve every street in Barstow right now was $70 million. Is that about the right number?
Yes, our current, if we were, the last study that we did, which we just got it updated, but we have actually dipped down into the 50s on our PCI rating for our streets. And just for us to maintain that 50-something rating, it's $3-point-something million a year. So if we wanted to increase and then make it better, to get up into the 60s, it's going to cost us $3.5 million, I believe, is what the annual money put into it. But we have almost $70+ million worth of deficiencies throughout the city.
Thank you. With that, Madam Clerk, any requests to speak from the public?
Yes, we have one. Mr. Mike Hernandez.
Welcome, Mr. Hernandez.
Thank you. Let's get to it right away. First of all, we can't maintain our streets because it costs $3 million a year just to maintain them. So you want to go out and borrow $8.5 million to do other projects. Why? We won't have any money to maintain the streets. We're only going to have 800,000. We need 3 million. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to go out and borrow money and be in debt for 10 or 15 years, whatever the time frame is, and get very little done. And then we can't maintenance our streets. That's the main thing, the maintenance. We had 2 study sessions. We hired people to check all our streets out twice, not once. First time it came back $2 million a year. Last study we had done, it came back $3 million a year. Our debt to keep our maintenance, just our maintenance on a street, keeps on increasing, and our income keeps on going down. Because for a long time they said Measure I was $2 million a year, and now it's only, I think, 1.75 is what it was according to this document. So tell me, we lost in 1 year over $200,000 for 1 year. Can you imagine 10 years? We'll be in the hole. This is, you're going to take it the wrong way, but I don't care. This is stupid. It's stupid to go out and get into debt when you owe so much money right now. You owe $3.6 million out of a $38 million budget that we pay on an annual basis. Now you want to take the money from the streets and go out and borrow more money when you have money coming in. All you have to do is go out and get it. We have $5 million that's owed to us, and $1.8 million that comes in next year is $6.8 million. And you're only going to borrow $8.5. That's $700,000, $1 million more. To go into debt for all those years. You know, in one way, I care a lot, but in one way I don't care because it's my last year. You people can do whatever the hell you want. And if you drive the city broke, it'll be your fault, Mr. Silva.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Questions from, bring it back to council for questions. Councilmember Williams.
I do believe all we're doing is putting some options on the table. There's no, the question is we're asking what the cost of the loans will be. There's no vote on doing this project. Correct? Okay,
Correct.
so all we're doing is looking at options. That's it. I just want to make sure that was clear.
With that, I'll call for a motion.
A motion.
I'll second.
I got a motion by Councilmember Williams, second by Councilmember Noble. We'll go into discussion. Mr. Hernandez, don't take it personal. I'm trying to bring everything I can here to the council for decisions. It'll be a council decision. When we get the numbers, it will make sense to them or it will not make sense to them, but I'm going to bring all options. Just as the city manager and I went to SBCTA to get more funding for Rimrock, I'm going to look at loans. I'm going to still keep looking for more money. We've got $70 million of infrastructure to improve. If I don't bring the numbers to council, I think that's the wrong thing to do. To not bring the options to the council, that's the wrong thing to do. If you agree with it or disagree with it, be polite. Let us know. Don't take it personal. Councilmember Hernandez.
Yeah, for my clarification, I am always for options, to look at options. I don't have an issue with that. But I want common sense to be used. Quite frankly, you know, 70 million we will never have that. The way I view this is that we have enough to maintain what we have and that we don't create more problems. And then we find ourselves in debt. Or the condition of our streets are so bad. We pride ourselves, you know, we're going to have a big project in this. That doesn't mean we're going to have all this funds or money. We all know that. Because I looked at the report. So I will always agree to look at the options. But I will also share my concerns, and having been here over 50 years and knowing what happens. And I don't want us to overextend ourselves and find ourselves in a situation. And sometimes I think the issue with us is we care too much about this town. So it's not finger pointing or whatever. It's that we want to make sure that we make the right decisions for the right reasons. And that's it.
I agree, and you can't make those decisions if I don't bring you the options. Councilmember Williams.
Mayor, thank you for bringing extra funding. Thank you for going down there and fighting the system to bring us more funding. If we don't do something, your 70 million is going to turn into 80 million, and it's going to turn into 90 million. So sooner or later, you have streets right now that have to be maintained before they become unrepairable. We talk about alligating roads, right? You look like an alligator back, you see all that. That's a structural damage gone. What would you do when that thing completely fails? You'll be hitting potholes like you've never seen before. No matter what we do here, borrow, don't borrow, whatever we choose, we're not going to win. But you know who's not going to win? It's those residents. Those are the true victims. Those who drive our roads, and those are the ones who are paying the taxes. So I have no problem with going out and doing everything we can to bring solutions to the table for our residents. That's all that matters.
Seeing no more requests or discussion, I'll call for the vote.
And the motion to approve or to direct staff to pursue the funding options passes 4-0.
Thank you. With that, we'll move on to item 17, sign selection for the renaming of the Barstow Senior Center in honor of Jeff L. Eason Sr. Recommendation, staff recommends the City Council, number 1, select the type of signage for the renaming of the Barstow Senior Center to the Jeff L. Eason Senior Center. A, black, white, or brushed aluminum finish. B, illuminated or non-illuminated. Number 2, appropriate a not-to-exceed budget for the purchase of the signage in the amount of $12,500 from the following funding source: General Fund, Fund 100, or B, General Fund, Measure Q, Fund 102. City Manager, Ms. Clayton.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. I would like to introduce Community Development Director Hildreth to provide this presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Mayor, Council, the item you have before you tonight is the installation of a new sign at the Barstow Senior Center. On February 3rd of 2025, the City Council unanimously approved the renaming of the Barstow Senior Center to the Jeff L. Eason Senior Center to honor Mr. Eason's dedicated service to the senior community. Staff has obtained sign samples for the installation of new signage to commemorate the renaming of the senior center facility and is requesting approval to purchase the signage. As the mayor indicated, we're looking for direction on color and then also whether the sign will be illuminated or non-illuminated. And I will click through this real quick. This is the option 1, which is the black channel letters. And sorry for the, I should have broke this up into 2 different slides, but as you can see, option 2 is the white channel letters at the top. And then the brushed aluminum channel letters is the bottom. And then here is a sample of illuminated. So each letter would be, or each letter would be illuminated behind it. So that's the illumination sample, and then I will click back so that you can see the color options. So the direction that staff is requesting is to not exceed the budget amount of $12,500, which we've gotten 3 different quotes. All of them are underneath that number, but we would like direction on the samples that we're providing you, and then we will go obtain the quotes again and then we would move forward with that. And then also which account to utilize to get the funding. So here's the illumination. There's the brushed aluminum with the white above that, and then that's the black lettering. With that, that concludes my presentation, and I can click back and forth as desired.
Okay, I'm not seeing any questions from council. Do we have any comments from public?
We do. Our first speaker is Mr. Ted Wiesma.
Welcome, Mr. Wiesma.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My recommendation on this is you have attachment A, which shows a brown background and white lettering. I think that is showing the best contrast and most easily readable of the presentations that you have there in attachment A. So I would go with the brown background and the white lettering. As far as illumination, I'm not a fan of night lighting, ruining night sky, so I would not recommend illumination. If you choose to do it anyway, then I recommend that that be solar powered, strictly solar powered for the sign. But the way you presented it in attachment A is sort of schizophrenic. It should be indeed line 1, Jeff L. Eason Sr., but it should not say Barstow Senior Center at the bottom. It should just say Senior Center, because that's what you passed. That was going to be the Jeff L. Eason Senior Center, not Barstow Senior Center. So I think that needs to be clarified. Question on your $12,500, does that include installation? Doesn't say. If that's just buying the sign, that's a lot of money for this sign, especially if you're not going to illuminate it, but use reflective paint, which I think is a much better option on it. Again, this is to honor Jeff, who served his community for many, many, many years and served it very well. So I don't think that should be out of anything other than the general fund, because Measure Q is to benefit senior citizens. This doesn't benefit Barstow senior citizens. It honors Jeff Eason, which is what it should do, and that should not be Measure Q, because it's not specifically benefiting the senior citizens of Barstow. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wiesma.
Our next speaker is Miss Marcia Wiesma.
Welcome, Mrs. Wiesma.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I believe this came up in, you said February, and it was to read Jeff L. Eason Senior Center. The very first thing we saw was it was on the top of the eave area, so that would need to be illuminated if you're going to find the place in the nighttime. But out of the choices, I think Ted was correct that you have. It did look the nicest. The seniors have waited a long time to have something nice. It's too bad we lost Jeff to get something nice down there. But I also recall that you said Jeff's children, and there were 3 of them, the adult children, would be able to help in the choice and help in getting it done. The cost seems a little bit high unless you're concluding everything's in the packet, which is your installation and all of that. But I think the seniors deserve it. I think Jeff would be very honored to have his name on the building. I think we would all be honored to have something nice, because Jeff and his wife and his whole family were involved in that senior center. Jeff was the oldest and the leader, so yes, he should be first on the building. But I think that they could also use the other family members' names in addition to something that's needed in the center. And that would be like more display cases. And also, I really think that you should not touch Measure Q because it is not for buildings and it is not for this type of thing. It should come from your general fund. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Ms. Wisma.
We have no more comment.
Thank you. Any more questions from council? Councilor Noble, questions?
Thank you, Mayor. Just to question Mr. Helt. Did the name Barstow, how did we come about the Jeff Eason Senior Barstow Senior Citizen?
To be honest with you, that's whenever Mr. Wiesma brought it up, it dawned on me that, yeah, I think it's just because Barstow Senior Center is up there right now. And I think that they just put, whenever they did the renderings, the companies that did it, they left that and put Jeff L. Eason Senior, Barstow Senior Center. So if we remove Barstow, we'll probably save a little bit of money, but that's the council's direction.
Right, I'm just asking.
Yeah, I don't.
Would
I
it
honestly
make a difference by just removing it and just making it Jeff L. Eason Senior Citizen?
Oh, I don't. The price will be lowered. I would assume. Yeah, and then to answer the other question, yes, that price was installed and it was illuminated and all of it. So depending on the direction that council gives, we will revise the quotes from the companies, and then CM would execute the contract.
And based off the three options that you presented, what was your option of the three? Just curious.
I like nice stuff, so I mean I like the letters lit, but City Hall's not even lit, the letters, so that's totally up to you guys. You know, as you can see, the brown coloring right there, that's the color of the building. Right. So if you choose black lettering, that's what it would roughly look like. There's some distinction there, and then you could either choose white or the brushed. I think it will stand out no matter what, and then if you illuminate it, that's up to you as well. Of course, it costs a lot more money to illuminate.
Yeah, and my first option was looking at the illumination, but I definitely want to keep the cost down. But also, in doing the illuminate, would it be lighting, or would it be some type of other mechanism to solar? Yes.
I'll be honest with you, solar costs more money. The initial cost, obviously, you save money from not having to pay an electric bill. But whenever you do solar, it's an actual solar panel, and then it's lit because it's at nighttime. Yeah. So then obviously you need a battery, and that's what powers the actual ballast that lights these. They're LED, so it would be minimal. You probably just pull off of direction of council, but the easiest way to do it is you just pull off of the electrical that is there, and it's low wattage for these LED signs, and you can do that. But what is challenging is that, as you can see in this, is that every single, and that's why the cost is the cost as well. If you were to illuminate this, every letter has wire that goes in and out. So it's not like a sign box that, the wires can be just in the box. It's each letter has wires going to it. That's why the cost is what the cost is as well.
Yeah, it's just a question. I was just asking a question. And then the other question was the location, based on what you showed me on the side of the wall, is that where it's going to be actually located?
That would be the proposed, yeah, because that's the entrance right there. Mm-hmm. To the left. You can't really see the door, but that's the entrance to the facility, and then they have some back doors. So,
and can see from the streets.
Yeah, you could see this. I mean, if there's a car parked there, it's parking's on the. What is it? The south side of the building. This is facing the direction of the west side of the building, so facing below
that.
Melissa.
Yeah.
So it faces Melissa.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could see it from the street, but there is a pull through there to drop people off. So if there's a car parked there dropping someone off, then you potentially won't see it.
All right. Thank you.
Could I ask you to clarify? I'm sorry, Director Hildreth. On this is the color of the wall here. if there was white and the recommendation is to have the brown background, would there be an additional cost to paint or provide, or is that included in this cost?
It's included. The wall itself right now is brown, which is that color right there. You can't, it's the same right here. It's the same picture. It's just it's zoomed in, unfortunately. So that's why you see the little bit of a contrast. It's a little bit different. But it's the exact same wall coloring. It's just either white letters or those three colors being placed on a brown wall.
So looking at the previous, it is a light brown, so
Correct.
I think it would not be as easily seen if you look here with white. That's just observation.
Thank you. I was going to ask the same question. On the blown-up photo, the white does pop out, but it's been darkened because it's...
Yes.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion, and I need to know, A, black or white or brushed aluminum finish. B, I need to know illuminated or non-illuminated. And then number 3, I need to know General Fund 100 or General Fund 102. I'll call for the motion.
Mayor, if I'm in order, I recommend that we go with the black and white. The black, as you were, non-aluminum, and it comes from the general funds.
General Fund 100?
100, yes.
Okay. Okay, so the motion, do I have a second?
Yeah.
Okay, so motion is the black lettering, non-illuminated, and from General Fund 100. Just to mention in discussion, and anybody else chime if they want to, I did contact my family contact for the Easons to let them know this was on the agenda. This would have been the place for their input on the sign also. With that, I'll call for the vote.
And the motion on item 17 passes unanimously to have the black channel lettering, non-illuminated, and coming from the General Fund 100.
Thank you. With that, we will move on to public safety updates, and we'll start with our police chief, Herbie.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I have no report this time.
Thank you. And Fire Chief Cisneros.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and community. Just really the only thing highlighting is tomorrow your Barstow firefighters will be participating in a tabletop exercise over at the Marine Corps Logistics Base for an expanded incident of what we call a Type 1 or Type 2 incident. So that'd be something significant happening within the base or surrounding the base that may impact. So it's a tabletop exercise to exercise the regional emergency management system and mutual aid system. And it's just tabletop, so you may hear some radio traffic. Also, we have an uptick in our local schools visiting the fire station. So we've had 2 visits in the last 2 days, so we're starting to see the elementary school kids come in and try and visit the fire station and see how we live within the community as well as interact within the community. But as well as a visit to the fire station, we're having the request from the dais as far as having a town hall meeting on November 11th. It's going to be at Fire Station 361 off 861 Barstow Road. It's going to be happening at 6 p.m. All are welcome, city residents as well as community residents or anybody of interest. So we're hosting on your guys' behalf and love to see everybody there. End of report unless there's questions.
Thank you. I see none. We'll move on to council committee reports. Councilmember Hernandez.
Thank you. I attended the Mojave Air Quality District meeting on October 27th and provided information to the city manager regarding possible grants for our public works department so that we can look at what can be available and also the time limits in which we have to submit if we will. And I have the Southern California Association of Government meetings on November 4th. That's it. Oh, before I forget, and the street committee for the public was canceled. And no, I did not cancel it.
Thank you, Councilmember Hernandez. Councilmember Noble.
Thank you, Mayor. Our last VVTA and our military affairs meeting all were canceled for the month of October. However, On the 11th of November, we will be meeting for the Military Affairs meeting at Los Domingos at 8 o'clock. And on the 17th of November at 9:30 here in the chamber, we will have the VVTA meeting here. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilor Noble. Councilmember Williams?
I have no committee meetings.
Thank you, Councilmember Williams. I did attend the Barstow Chamber meeting on October 21st, Rules and Policy on October 28th. We had one item there, and I didn't bring my notes. Do you recall what that was on the one item?
I believe that was renewing the committee.
Correct. It was, yeah, renewing our own committee. So thank you. And the one change, it's going to come back because it had a termination date, but we're going to take that out. The council can cancel any meeting at any time they desire, so we saw no need for the termination date. And then on the 29th, I attended the Chamber's Economic Development meeting. I had an outage, so I missed part of it, but I caught enough of it. I just want to say that your member in Community Development, Genesis, gives an excellent update on there. She speaks well for your department. So thank you for having her attend that. And I apologize for saying Genesis. Last name's Crank, correct? Miss Crank, okay. And as mentioned, tomorrow's street committee meeting is canceled. My understanding is there was nothing on the agenda. The street projects that are moving forward are set to come to council. There's nothing else to go through committee. The time frame's been set. I believe that was set for construction can start early next calendar year, correct? Is that what we talked about in committee? Okay. And there's just no update there. It's all going through the process right now with staff, correct? All right, thank you.
And then the bids will be coming to council, of course, for council to approve.
Correct, okay. Okay, that's end of my committee report, so we will move on to business of the council. Councilmember Hernandez.
Thank you. Positive news that pickleball contingency in our community is really happy with the city, and they wanted me to thank staff. They said it is so easy to put on tournaments here in the city, and they truly appreciate it. Trash issues. I don't know where some of these folks come from, but there shouldn't be trash in our streets. I see people throw things outside the cars or their windows, or they're walking along and they're finished with their fast foods and they throw the trash on the street. Please respect our community and your neighbors. If you have trash, hold on till you get home. That's why we have Burtec and have trash containers. The other issue is semi-trucks being parked on residential streets. And that's why I was concerned that there was no street committee, because I've received quite a few issues, and the street committee is usually where we discuss them. Then there is an encampment on city property behind Lillian Drive, but I will give the city manager the location on that. Then the other concern was fencing heights in front yards. What is the requirement? Because we're noticing that fencing among the community is getting higher and higher in front yards. And it has been brought to, before the council in the past, and people debating, and not that I didn't say some of the fences were pretty, but, we do have a code enforcement. Let's see. Oh, and then I wanted to thank the United States Veteran Support Group. They gave out food vouchers, $25 for turkeys. So they're continue to contribute to our community. And let me see. I think that about covers it all. But I think I would like to see us contact Supervisor Rowe about the Department of Behavioral. The fact that you have someone that's not available, they should have sent someone else. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Hernandez. Councilmember Noble.
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing to report out. We had no meetings this month.
Thank you, Councilmember Noble. Councilmember Williams.
Yes, let's have some fun. I want to thank my good friend Steve from Apple Valley. He is running the voice of Apple Valley, and I appreciate all the support out there. We have a lot of fun with their residents, or at least I do. And I'm going to be at your next council meeting, Steve. Just to let everybody know. To the police department, thank you. Let the dispatchers know today, I appreciate what they did. The police officers were professional. We had what we thought was a break-in. Turned out it wasn't, but they did a fantastic job of getting to the site and doing what they're doing. It was because of the city's cleanup that we even saw the door that was exposed. So that was covered up. To our bathrooms, Public Works did a fantastic job at Stringham Park. I cannot believe the pictures I saw today that has been sent to me from residents. School district was going to go in halves with us. They didn't do it. But they do rent us the property for a very low amount of money. Well, what we have done with those bathrooms, and Steve's been in football for a long time with me, he can tell you that they are terrible. And Mr. Noble saw them today. And they're absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. What we're doing in the last 8 months is unbelievable. Mrs. Brown, I want to give my condolences to you for your mother. I want to make sure you know that from me personally. It's never easy to lose someone you love. To Mrs. Wiesman, Marcia, I'm coming. Tell your folks I just got to get through all this other hate I got going on, but I will be there. We will get with those residents and talk about the issues. Mr. Brown, if someone has a complaint, I'm all for it. Let them file the complaint. Okay, if they're calling you, that's fantastic. I'm glad they're calling you. I'm going to do what I got to do. Some people I'm going to upset, some people I'm not. I really don't care if I'm going to be here 3 years or 2 years or 1 year. It doesn't bother me none. So at the end of the day, I'm going to do what the residents need me to do. Rockstar. Me and Steve, we laugh about this every day, don't we? Every day, me and Steve are on the phone. Every single day. Me and the voice of Apple Valley. God, I love it. I meant what I said about it. So the Rockstar was because the mayor had told me when I first got elected, if you want to go see a great council, go to Apple Valley. And you know what? They are a tight group. They're respected throughout. When we go anywhere out through the city, League Cities, or anywhere we're going, that group is special. So when I said Rockstar, I meant exactly that. They are well respected. But I also go to San Bernardino. I also go to Adelanto. I also go to Victorville. Hesperia I've been to. I don't hear those being mentioned. Unbelievable. You know, you can't make anybody happy. I'll just tell you. There's one thing I'm learning, and if you want a fight with me, I think I can deliver that for you. I think I'm pretty good at it. And I'd rather not, but I'm game. And for Carmen, you want to talk about parking trucks? Apple Valley's got a great little place they're building out there to park trucks, and you can, we can get them moved out there and park. I think Steve will be all for that. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilmember Williams. Okay, so events I attended in the second half of October. Craves Coffee had their 1 year celebration, and they did a ribbon cutting. I was there along with Councilmember Hernandez. Together We Can had their meeting and their big events coming up next month. I think this month's meeting, they're going to have to make a decision where they're going to hold that at. Cora Harper is probably not going to be available in December. I missed this one. I did SBCTA Metro Valley. That should have been in committee reports. Desert Sanctuary had an open house on the 17th. I attended that for a short while before I had to get to a trunk or treat. Of course, we all attended the parade on the 18th. On the 22nd, Rotary asked me to please speak there, and I want to thank Chief Cisneros for also attending and speaking. And please thank your captain again for stepping in. I believe you were out of an assignment or something that evening, but Captain stepped up and did a great job. The Rotary received some great information that night. Attended the job fair at the Harvey House on the 23rd. At the high school on the 23rd, I also did some coaching at the high school for the EXP group. And then I did 2 trunk or treats. We had one at the Home Depot. Home Depot, again, thank you to the fire and the PD for showing up for there. They did a community event. It was a great event. And I think Councilmember Williams joined me in that one, and we gave away a lot of candy. And then, of course, the one at City Hall here on the 29th, which most of the council was there for that, giving away candy. A lot of fun. A couple questions on public comment. Ignoring facilities, we basically, this council approved its first budget just a few months ago. And trust me, we are sitting down, we are discussing options for facilities, and that should come out, I would hope, before the end of the fiscal year with how we're going to better maintain our facilities. So being ignored, no. Finding the way to fund them is the discussion right now. Ms. Weisman, I am trying to attend as many Route 66 committees because there's more than one going on. Call me or text me if you know of any. 760-447-5050. And I will be, if I have the time, happy to attend there. I do know that staff, our Assistant City Manager, Mr. Chapa, has been attending one that I have attended, and I do have a goal to make next year special, not just for Route 66, but our country also is going to have quite a milestone for our birthday, and we want to be sure that we budget for that and that we do everything possible for that. And my goal is to bring a lot of tourism to Barstow. I think a lot of this other stuff got answered already. So we will go on to our city manager, Ms. Clayton. Comments?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. I have just a brief update that next week is Veterans Day on Tuesday, November 11th, so City Hall will be closed, and I know we'll have that available on our website. Chief Cisneros gave my other update already, is that there is a town hall that day at the fire station. He gave the information at 6 p.m. And just lastly, I know there were questions about how to contact the city and who to report things to. We do have the city app. It's available on your app store on your phone. If you have a phone or tablet, you can download it too. Very easy to use. We are going to be putting out more publications so that we can have that available, that information more readily available. We are underway with updating our website. We do have the upgrade already in place. We're working on staff training so that we can roll out more outreach and looking at utilizing our Channel 6 for more updates in addition to social media. So we'll get that information out as well as the non-emergency number. I know I did not include it in my presentation today, but we'll make sure that that's readily available in all of our social media content. So with that, that's my presentation.
Thank you. So with that, I would like to, by request of Councilor Williams, to close this meeting in the memory of Mrs. Brown's mother, which I'm not familiar with the name. Did you want to come up and give us the name, please? The name of your mother, please. Patricia O'Brien. Okay, so we're going to close this in memory of Patricia O'Brien by consensus of the members. Without objection, this meeting will be adjourned at 9:44 p.m. However, we will go into closed session on item number 3, and that will be reported out at our next council meeting. Thank you.